The port of Tromso, northern Norway's largest city, lies between Narvik and Hammerfest on a small island 349 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle. Welcome to WatchZilla. Today we are going to give you our top 10 best attractions to visit in Tromso for you to plan your sightseeing adventures in the city. Established in the 13th century, Tromso remains an important fishing port, as well as a popular location from which to view and study Norway's famous aurora borealis, or northern lights. Each year in late January or early February, Tromso hosts the Northern Lights Festival, a musical extravaganza that attracts artists and symphonic orchestras from across Scandinavia. One of the most popular things to do is experience the midnight sun, visible here from mid-May through mid-July. Tromso's northern location and natural harbor ensure the city remains important as a base for Arctic expeditions, as well as for the numerous Norwegian fishing vessels based here. It's also a much-used jumping-off point for ferries and cruise ships to and from major ports such as Bergen, and in summer for coastal cruises to destinations such as Spitsbergen. Number 10. Tromso Cathedral. Tromso Cathedral is a monument you must visit. When walking through the main street of Tromso, Storgata, you can't miss this old and beautiful wooden church called Domkirke. It is the work of Christian Heinrich Grach and was built in 1861 in a neo-Gothic style. Dating back to 1861, this is the northernmost Protestant cathedral and the only one in Norway that is made of wood. The cathedral's altarpiece is a spectacular copy of Adolf Tiedemann's Resurrection. Other important features include the large stained glass windows in the front of the church, designed by celebrated artist Gustav Vigeland and installed in 1960. There are often concerts in the church, especially during summer. A great way of seeing and experience Tromso Cathedral is by attending the daily concert Sounds of the North by Arctic Vibe. Here you will get to experience a wide range of Norwegian music, like folk tunes, hymns, traditional music, and indigenous Sami music. Number 9. Tromso Museum. If museums are your thing, the Tromso Museum has exhibitions of everything you want to know about the Arctic and northern Norway. At the southern end of Tromsøya is an engaging museum about the city and region, also maintained by the University of Tromso. The museum approaches life in northern Norway from many different angles, exploring the Sami culture, the facts behind the northern lights, the history of polar exploration, the geology and natural life of the region, as well as religious art and archaeology. You'll get to see whale skeletons, traditional skis and canoes, models of Sami dwellings, altarpieces, artifacts from daring expeditions and prehistoric spearheads. There is also a big screen at the museum showing different films about the northern lights, how the mountains and landscape of Tromso and northern Norway were formed, and glaciers. You can see a recreation of the famous Northern Lights Torella, originally built by the famous Norwegian scientist Birkeland. Birkeland was the first scientist to do research on the northern lights. He managed to find out what causes the northern lights, and he recreated the northern lights in a glass torella around the year 1900. The torella is a metal sphere with a magnetic field hung in a vacuum chamber. You can make northern lights yourself in this torella, which is pretty cool and a great way to understand what makes the northern lights. Many of the exhibits are child-friendly, with interactive elements. It is educational and a great place to visit for both grown-ups and kids. All exhibitions have posters and explanations in English. Number 8. Polaria. If you are traveling with kids and want to visit some exciting yet educational places, then Polaria is surely a spot that you don't want to miss. The most northerly aquarium in the world, Polaria is in a distinctive building designed to mimic ice floes pressed against the land by rough seas. Inside this modern-looking museum is an Arctic aquarium, a knowledge-based exhibition and a panoramic cinema. The attraction has dozens of tanks and habitats for local marine life. The stars of the show are the bearded seals, which can be observed in an open pool. You'll be able to see them swimming from below in the underwater glass tunnel. Through exhibitions and interacting with Arctic animals, such as seals and cold water fish, the museum demonstrates how human has influenced the Arctic's wilderness and how we can better protect our living environment. You can also traverse the Arctic Walkway, which recreates Arctic permafrost and has equipment from polar expeditions. Polaria screens the eye-popping movies Spitsbergen Arctic Wilderness and In the Land of the Northern Lights at its 5-screen panoramic cinema. Number 7. Arctic-Alpine Botanical Garden. Tromso's Arctic-Alpine Botanic Garden and its unique collections are a must-see for those interested in northern Norway's unique flora. Despite the snow, the flowering season starts early in May, rewarding visitors with displays of purple saxifrage and yellow cushion plants, pasque flowers, and a variety of flowering bulbs. Said to be the world's most northerly botanic gardens, it's divided into 25 collections, each showcasing a different cold weather species or region, including plants of the Himalayas, the Arctic, and other extreme climates, as well as traditional Norwegian plants. Among its most prized specimens are the giant Tibetan blue poppy and a wide variety of cold-hardy rhododendrons. Another favorite garden features traditional medicinal plants from the region. Flowering continues until the snow returns in October. Number 6. Science Center of Northern Norway. At the campus of the University of Tromso is a hands-on science museum tackling subjects like the human body and brain, energy and the environment, weather and climate, and the science behind the sky. This science museum is a great place to visit in Tromso with kids because it's interactive and has an exclusively educational purpose. In addition, right next to it is the beautiful Arctic-Alpine Botanic Garden of Tromso. The museum also goes into the realities of life above the Arctic Circle, documenting the natural habitat and revealing scientific research being conducted in this region. But the marquee attraction is the 360 degrees digital planetarium, the largest in Norway, putting on a Northern Lights show and explaining the science behind this magical natural phenomenon. Number 5. Northern Lights. The journey to the Arctic can never be completed without watching the Northern Lights. Seeing the Northern Lights is the most impressive thing to do in Tromso in winter. In winter, when there is no daylight, it is the perfect time for viewing the Northern Lights. From the start of September to early April is when you'll have the best chance of seeing this awe-inspiring phenomenon. Best of all is the period from mid-November to mid-January, known as the polar night, when the sun doesn't make it above the horizon. Thanks to Tromso's location, it is one of the best places to see Northern Lights in Norway. Tromso is in the Northern Lights Oval, the prime location for gazing at the aurora. They aren't always easy to find, since sightings depend on how clear and light-polluted the sky is. Ideally, you should get clear of the city, away from light pollution, and if possible, you should come during the new moon or waning and waxing crescent, when there's less competing light in the sky. Number 4. Polar Museum. If you are to visit only one museum in Tromso, then this is it. It shows the unique position Tromso had as the capital of sealing and as the gateway to the Arctic. Established in 1978, exactly 50 years after the death of the fabled explorer Roald Amundsen, this museum is all about the lives of polar pioneers, from animal trappers to explorers. The exhibitions give an insight into the hard life the trappers had on Svalbard through the winter. You'll learn about the trappers of the early 20th century who would spend full winters at Svalbard catching polar bears, reindeer and seals. The lives of famous trappers like Henry Rudy and Wani Woolsted, as well as the amazing polar exploration expeditions of Fridtjof Nansen and Roald Amundsen, are just some of what you will learn about at this museum. There's a separate exhibition all about Roald Amundsen, who was the first man to reach the South Pole in 1926 and became the first to sail through the Northwest Passage from 1903 to 1906. You'll meet famous figures like the Dutch navigator Willem Barents, who discovered the Svalbard archipelago in the 16th century and opened up the way for a generation of Dutch whalers. An authentic trapper's cabin from 1900 has been moved to the museum. Number 3. Arctic Cathedral. Just before the Tromso Bridge on the mainland sits Tromsdalen Church. Better known as the Arctic Cathedral, this striking example of the bold modern architecture now common throughout Norway was designed by Jan Inge Havig in 1965. The Arctic Cathedral's striking modern glass and aluminum facade and daring angular planes form a much-loved landmark in Tromso. Havig's design ties in elements of divine worship with the Nordic surroundings, echoing the shape of ship's sails and the stark white of the ice. A major landmark and tourist attraction, this striking structure is visible from incoming flights and from Tromso Sound. The cathedral's most famous feature is its 1,500 square foot glass mosaic designed by artist Victor Spar. For a special treat, try to time your visit with one of the cathedral's excellent midnight sun concerts held in July and August. Number 2. Tromso Fjords. Kulfjorden, Bulsfjorden, Ulfjorden, and Melangen are a few of the fjords close to Tromso. You can go on a cruise to see these hauntingly beautiful water bodies, departing from Tromso's harbor on the Polar Queen of Fjord Queen. On your 5-hour trip, a classic polar scene of snow-capped mountains and slender waterfalls will scroll by, and you may catch sight of seals, reindeer, and sea eagles, as well as humpback whales if you come between November and January. You can see it all from the warmth of the cabin or go up to the deck in the biting wind for the best shots. Extra warm clothing is provided, and you'll be served Arctic fish, waffles and hot drinks to tide you over until you return. Alternatively, you can do the fjords on a guided drive to the island of Somroy, which has pristine white sandy beaches. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 1. Fjellheisen Cable Car. Easily accessible across the Tromso Bride to Fløya on the mainland by bus number 26, the Fjellheisen Cable Car shoots 420 meters up Mount Storsteinen in less than 4 minutes and provides far-reaching panoramas over the city and its spectacular archipelago location. Fjellheisen opened in 1961 and has 2 cabins, each accommodating 28 people. It has the capacity to move 360 people per hour and is a leaping-off point for walkers, cyclists, paragliders and in winter, skiers and boarders on the rolling alpine slopes. The jagged peaks on the island of Kvaloya to the north form a dramatic backdrop to the slopes of Tromsdalstinden, the region's highest mountain at 1,238 meters, whose snowy winter cap is a popular climb for competent mountaineers. New Year's Eve is heralded with a firework extravaganza at Fjellheisen, and the Fjellstua Cafe is open all year round, with drop-dead gorgeous views from its terrace. In summer, the viewing deck is the perfect spot to wallow in the eerie light of the midnight sun as it sparkles off finger-thin fjords and mountain tarns, with Tromso's islands and skerries spread out map-like far below. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchZilla and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.